I made this really cool net. You'll never guess what I started out with. This is actually made from just a single piece of kitchen paper. I got the idea from this book. I love Shelley Rhodes. She's an absolutely amazing artist and her books are absolutely wonderful. She's got another book which is about sketchbooking. Sorry about my hands, by the way. I did some dyeing yesterday, so they're all mucky. In scrubbing and scrubbing, I think I just dyed my hands, so that's why they're a bit dirty. So this, I would highly recommend this book, really good, and I'll just show you where I got the idea from. In it, she says here, if a grid is stitched onto paper, a delicate fragmented mesh can be made by wetting it, then gently rubbing some of the paper away, or it can be left outside to break down naturally over time. Experiment by using different types of paper. Strong serviettes work well. Once the delicate mesh has been created, it can be dipped and coated with paint, plaster, ceramic slip or wax. I used these fragile grid structures to represent broken coral in this piece, only 5%. And you can see she's got different areas here where the grid has been worn down in varying amounts. And I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And here she's got one which has been dipped in plaster, I think, and there's another one there. So I had a go at that. Just from that description in the book, I had a little go, and this is what the result was like. Now, I decided that I could use these pieces of kitchen paper because I used them in another technique where I'm putting Procion onto the page. I thought these were just so beautiful that when I heard Shelley Rhodes describing this technique of sewing a grid and then rubbing bits away, and that it worked well on strong serviettes, I thought I could try it with these, because they actually do have, some of them have a little bit of paint in them now, so they are even stronger than they are when you first get them. This one I think has got gesso on it as well. And this is the sort of thing that you would usually just throw away. This one's got hardly anything on, but you're going to rub away quite a lot of it anyway. And then these pieces I used yesterday when I was doing some dyeing. I did some tie dyeing with my daughter, and we had a lot of dye left over at the end, and so I decided to just try dyeing some paper. I thought, well, why not? And I was actually really pleased with how it came out. So I think I'll make another video about dyeing with dyes on paper. Look at that, isn't it gorgeous? Some of them were more successful than others, but anyway, so yeah, I had some dye left over. By the end, most of it would turn brown because it was all the dyes that had mixed together. I decided to use these kitchen papers to mop up some of the dye. It had spilt onto the bathroom floor and stuff. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Instead of just throwing it away, I dried it out and I've saved it. So I'm going to try using one of these today to make one of these grids, and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, I'm going to go and get my sewing machine and then I can show you how we do this. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. I found this thread which is really nice. It's variegated and it seems to sit really nicely with this colour. So I'm going to put some onto the bobbin. Alrighty. I know there's an automatic needle thread on here, but I actually find it easier to just thread the needle myself. Just a bit silly, really. Okay. Now I want to sew this one. I actually did diagonally, but this one I'm going to try just doing a regular grid. So we want to sew lines one going one way and then lines going the other way. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And because it's paper, it's quite delicate. I think I'll probably put the stitch length up a bit to maybe 3.5. Let's see how we get on. Just going to go along a little bit. And then So you can see I'm not being very precise with the width of the rows, but that's because I want this kind of distressed looking result. And I think it actually works quite well if you have some thinner pieces and then some fatter pieces as well. So I'm just kind of not worrying too much about accuracy here. So there's the finished piece once we've sewn the grid on. I'm actually really pleased with this choice of thread because I think it looks really beautiful with this mottled coloured dye, and the colours go really well. So now I'm going to put the sewing machine away and I'm going to start to get this wet and rub away in between the threads so we can start to build our mesh. Okay, so I've got my piece that I've sewn on the sewing machine, and I just put it on a plate because it can get quite wet and I don't want the puddles of water spilling all over the table. And I've got a spray bottle here. We'll see whether that's enough. I might need to get a bit more, but let's try this first. I get it quite wet because it needs to be quite wet to be able to rub it away. Actually rubbing it away so much as like tearing it apart, I suppose. And it takes some of the bits off and leave some of them as kind of crinkly bits next to the thread. Seems to actually be easier if you kind of hold it down with one hand and then use your nail on the other hand. I might leave some there with a bit of a contrast. Already that's looking kind of cool. See, it's going to look a bit different when it's dry. Looks like a lace or something. So cool. Some black paint has come on here by accident, but actually I think it adds to the distressed sort of look. A welcome it. Alright, I think that's done, so I'm going to let this dry and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's dry. This has dried now, so I just thought I would show you. Isn't it gorgeous? That's what it looks like on the other side. And this paper is actually surprisingly strong, so yeah, I can't wait to use this in one of my art projects. I think it would look really cool. And I think I'm going to make some more with the other papers. Really cool technique. So thanks again to Shelley Rhodes for introducing me to this idea. If you found this video helpful, I'd love it if you could give me a like, and I've got lots more content planned for the upcoming weeks, so please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!